I have three sets of questions here. Madam Secretary, I am inclined to vote for your confirmation, but there are a lot of issues that are left hanging, and there are a lot of new issues which are beclouding the issues in my mind. First, on the issue of PhilHealth, isn't it a fact that Section 19 of the implementing rules and regulations of RA 7975, or the National Health Insurance Act of 2013, provides that the President and CEO of PhilHealth shall be appointed by the President of the Philippines upon recommendation of the board. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
And I saw from our researches that since the time you assumed the presidency, or the post of Secretary of Health, and assumed the chair of the board of PhilHealth, there already was 3 presidents appointed.
Yes, Your Honor. They were appointed on an interim President and CEO capacity, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Why are you appointing interim or OIC president except why not pass a resolution recommending these people or this particular person to the president to be appointed as full-fledged president of the corporation?
Yes, Your Honor, because in the previous President and CEO, acting President and CEO, Buddy Aristosa, he was appointed by the board as interim or acting, and we were awaiting the appointment of the president, of a president and CEO. He was actually the COO. So he was the default PCEO because of his seniority in the position of PhilHealth. So he was next in rank. So therefore, he was appointed acting president and CEO. And during that time, the president of the Philippines did not appoint any president and CEO for that position, Your Honor.
Madam Secretary, the law is very clear that the president will only appoint president of the PhilHealth upon recommendation of the board. Did you or did the board recommend to the president the appointment of a full-fledged president?
The board recommended to the president, dated
Recommended who?
June 9, 2017, Dr. De La Serna as for President and CEO of the PhilHealth, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
So what was the action? Was he appointed or was he rejected?
There is no appointment papers, Your Honor, submitted to PhilHealth as of this time, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
When the president did not act on your recommendation, you appointed another OIC, is that correct?
The idea is that there were certain actions by the interim PCEO that the board resolved there was lack of trust and confidence, so that we elected another acting PCEO, interim PCEO, Your Honor.
When you lost trust and confidence on this acting president of the corporation, which you, the board, recommended to the president for appointment, did you recall your recommendation?
No, Your Honor. The first two interim PCEO, we did not recommend to the President, Your Honor.
I am asking you these questions because I am just concerned, being a lawyer and being a lawmaker, that if the board appoints successive OIC presidents, aren't you being disrespectful to the powers of the president? Because, this is a prerogative or a power vested by law upon the president. And I don't want any power vested upon the president to be circumvented by a board who should be under the power of the president. I don't want any diminution of powers granted to any particular officer of the country.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Chair, according to the rules of procedure, the board can elect among themselves an interim president and CEO if the president of the Philippines have not appointed such to the position. And because of lack of trust and confidence in the two previous interim president and CEO, the board had to elect among themselves a new interim president and CEO. That is the rules of procedure, Your Honor.
Yeah.
We were awaiting
Where
for the
is that rules
president
of
to
procedure?
appoint.
I have not seen that because I've read the IRR, I've read the law, and I have not seen that rules of procedure
We
that
will
you're
submit,
referring.
Your Honor. It's
What is
from
that? A
the
rules of procedure of the board?
Corporate Governance Council, Your
No,
Honor.
but that is a general law. This is a specific law. And the general law cannot amend or supplement or even supersede. Thank you very much. Cannot supersede a law, a specific law. So you cannot, I believe, give that as a justification because it is very clear under your IRR, and under the law which creates your organization that it is the sole authority of the president to appoint the president of the corporation upon the recommendation of the board. And I don't want an anomalous situation wherein the board will circumvent or cause the diminution of the power of the president by appointing successive OIC presidents.
Yes, Your Honor, we recognize that procedure, but it was unusual circumstance, Your Honor, that we cannot recommend to the President the sitting acting President and CEO because of certain activities that happened that made us lose trust and confidence in the sitting interim President and CEO.
Madam President, Madam
Yes, ma'am.
Secretary, I don't think you are getting my point very well. Why do you appoint an OIC who you think and you say you do not have full trust and confidence? An OIC president should have all the qualifications of a regular president. You cannot abrogate it upon yourself to appoint successive OIC presidents because that is a diminution and a disrespect
Yes, Your
of
Honor.
the power of the president.
I think we have to submit the chronology of events, Your Honor, so that the Commission on Appointments will understand what happened in the case of the PhilHealth President and CEO, Your Honor.
I don't think a chronology of events
There was
would
base-
answer and assuage the fear of this representation as to the anomalous practice that you are doing right now at the PhilHealth. Having said that, Mr. Chairman, there are repeated accusations and allegations of usurpation of functions. Again, as I've said, I am a lawyer and I am a lawmaker, and I would like to protect and safeguard the law because I believe that if there is no rule of law in this government or in any government or any society for that matter, then there will be no development. There will be no peace and order. So, Madam Secretary, what are the functions of a PhilHealth board chair? Can you please enlighten this representation?
Yes, Your Honor. The PhilHealth Board Chair actually presides over board meetings and discusses the policies of the corporation and approves policies of the corporation, Your Honor.
Approve. Can the chair approves or the board approves?
Your Honor, as the chair of the board, the Secretary of Health, together with all the board members, approve the policy of the board, Your Honor.
Yes, because the chair only presides. It does not decide. Okay? So the chairman of the board basically schedules meetings, decide on the agenda, calls meetings, through the corporate secretary, presides, acts as chair of the executive committee, exercise control over quality, quantity, and timeliness of the flow of information between the board and the management. Take the lead in ensuring compliance with PhilHealth's guidelines on corporate governance. So you are just a conduit between the board and the management. When you say management, who heads the management of the corporation?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, it's the President and CEO of the corporation that heads management, Your Honor.
Okay. So as president of the board, of the corporation, would you know the functions of the president of the corporation?
Your Honor, the President and CEO of the corporation ensures that all the policies issued by the board is implemented by the corporation.
So the policies are decided on by the board, and the implementation and the execution of all the policies passed by the board should be implemented by the president, right? So when you order reassignment of personnel from one office to another, is that policy determining or is that a management issue?
Your Honor, if it involves moving personnel, like one or two personnel, then that would be something I believe that is management prerogative. But if you're moving 43 senior position personnel in the corporation, I believe that will affect the whole activities of the corporation, and that is discretionary and policy determining, Your Honor.
Okay, so if it's one or two, how about if you are transferring four? Is that a management action or a corporate board action or a policy determining action?
Yes, Your Honor.
Which is
in
yes.
that case, Your Honor, if there are more personnel being transferred, then we
No,
get
I'm asking you if
board
you
approval.
say that if it's one or two,
That's
then it's
policy.
management. I'm asking you what if you are transferring five?
that
Or
is-
four.
Yes,
If
Your
you're
Honor.
transferring four, is it management or board action?
Then we subject it to board decision, Your Honor.
So it is not a management
Yes,
action?
Your Honor.
What's the difference between two and four?
Your Honor, if our interim president and CEO were a regular plantilla position, he was appointed to that position, then he can do movement of personnel. But our PCEO is OIC and interim.
That's exactly my point, Madam Secretary. That for how many, for almost a year or more than a year, it's a succession of OIC. So that gives you that questionable or even anomalous right to perform the duties and functions of the president of the corporation. That's exactly my point. And you are, by your answers, you are proving my point. When you limit the designation as officer in charge and forwarding matters requiring discretion, is that management or policy? When you issue advisory of notice of vacancies, is that a management or a board action or policy determining? When you issue a memorandum or amended advisory, again with respect to vacancies, is that management or corporate action? When you reassign officers and personnel from one office to another, is that management or corporate action, Madam Secretary? To you, Madam Secretary, because I would want you to dispel and disprove their allegations that you have usurped the functions of the President.
Yes, Your Honor. And accordingly, Your Honor, the PhilHealth Board has provided the chairperson through a board resolution the residual power to exercise discretion beyond those given to the OIC PCEO, such as power to appoint and also the power to so that the PhilHealth operations will not be hampered. And
so you're telling me,
the board passed the resolution.
Madam
Yes, Your Honor.
Secretary, because I don't want you to continue that line of answer because that will put you in a deeper hole. So you are telling me now that the board has the authority to give you the powers of the president of the corporation. Because I'm telling you, I've read the law, I've read the IRR, and I did not see, or I have not seen any provision that gives you the authority to appropriate for yourself the functions of the president of the corporation. Moving on to my next question. I don't want to delve on the question of Ms. Francisco with respect to the salad or the salary adjustment because I think the chairman has instructed you or requested you to submit your justifications or your grounds for on this issue. So I will not delve on that because I don't want to preempt your report on that matter. Madam Secretary, we are about to approve and adopt the universal health coverage, and which is very good for our people. But do you know anything about this universal health coverage, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Your Honor. I have been discussing it with Congresswoman Helen Tan, Your Honor.
So, what are the salient features of the universal health coverage?
Yes, Your Honor. The bottom line for the law is to actually provide quality health services to all Filipinos regardless of capacity to pay, Your Honor.
And what role will the PhilHealth play in the universal health coverage?
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, that would be, PhilHealth is the main payer for health services in this country, Your Honor.
So the PhilHealth will play a very important and critical role in the implementation of the universal health coverage, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then we have to assure that PhilHealth is run efficiently. Don't you say so?
Yes, Your
Madam
Honor.
Secretary?
They have a critical role in universal health coverage,
And
Your
we
Honor.
have to assure and ensure that the PhilHealth should be run efficiently by capable and competent people.
Yes, Your Honor.
That much.
Any government agency should in fact be run by capable and competent
Let's not include the other government agencies because they are not an issue here. Okay? Now, I have also researched. I do my homework, Madam Secretary. I have researched on the comparative statement of income of PhilHealth. And I am very shocked to see that you are operating on a net loss. Can you confirm or deny that, Madam Secretary?
No, Your Honor. The PhilHealth statement of accounts in 2016 shows 63 million positive collection, Your Honor.
Yes, I know. I also have a statement of your income. You are registering a positive income because you included the 13 point something billion contributions from senior citizens which have not been or has not been collected for several years now. So you are reporting this as an income, I'm not an accountant. Lawyers are very poor in figures. So I'm looking up to you, Madam Secretary. If this receivable should be properly included as your income.
These are considered, Your Honor, arrears and collectibles from national.
But if you have not been able to collect it for several years, are you still, I don't know, can somebody please enlighten me if this has to be? Yeah, the Honorable Bambol Tolentino said it's either cash on hand or cash in the bank. Oh. Yeah, wait, I just want to know because the president, the secretary is the chairman of the board and acting president of the corporation.
Yes, Your Honor, we are actively pursuing the collection of these arrears from national government, and we have been discussing with the Department of Budget and Management because it is true that these are premium payments for senior citizen. However, the payouts for senior citizen, the premium payments is about 10.6 billion for 1 year, but the payouts is 17 billion, Your Honor. So it is really a big, shall we say, dent to PhilHealth if these arrears are not paid up for.
My question, Madam Secretary, is it right to include this in your income, in your statement of income? Because if you deduct this, then you're operating on a loss. And I am very much concerned. If you are operating in a loss for several years, for 2 years now, then where do you get the money for the day-to-day operations? And according to my research, then you are dipping your fingers into the reserve, which is not and should not be done.
Yes, Your Honor. This is accounting and financing principle that if such funds are collectibles by the corporation, then it is included in the income statement of the corporation, Your Honor.
I'm being briefed by Honorable Cortuna, who is a very good accountant, saying that it should not be included as, ito na, ikaw na yun.
It's like this, receivables cannot be included as an income, but a fund generation. So, first you have to age the receivables. May aging yun, kung, then that will be part, whatever you collected, that's part of your funds generation. It seems that there is an understatement or overstatement of your income because receivables cannot be included as an income, Mr.
Okay, Madam, thank you very much, Accountant Juliet Fortuna. Oh, it's a CPA. Okay, so, I mean, so if you don't have the records right now, Madam Secretary, then I would like to request for a detailed financial statement of the PhilHealth, because I'm asking all these questions because, as you said, PhilHealth will play a very crucial role in the implementation of the universal health law. And if PhilHealth is not run correctly or competently, and if PhilHealth is in the red and is now operating on the reserve funds, then we have so much to worry about. Okay, so that's PhilHealth. I would like to, Madam Secretary, may I still continue with my questions? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us put a closure on this dengue issue. Because the dengue was, we know that from 2014, we had 121,580 dengue cases, 2015, 200,000, 2016, 211, 2017 up to September, 76,000. Deaths, 465 in 2014, 2015, 598, 2016, 1,000. And for this year, up to September is 415. Why did you stop the administration of vaccines, of dengue vaccines? Because a lot of my colleagues in Congress have really, there was an uproar when you stopped
Your Honor.
the implementation of the dengue vaccination.
Your Honor, I would like to clarify with this committee that we did not stop dengue vaccination. It's on pilot implementation in Region 3, 4A, and NCR, and it's on expanded implementation in Region 7. And it's ongoing. The pilot will end by June 2018, Your Honor. Madam Chair.
Madam Secretary, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, why, I don't know, if you're saying that there was never an instance when you ordered the suspension of the administration, because in one of the readings I made in your actions, you called for a board or a group of experts.
Expert panel meeting. Yes,
The
Your
first
Honor.
group of experts, what was the recommendation of the first group of experts?
Your Honor, the first expert panel, which was convened July 2016, recommended that we do not expand the implementation to other areas, but continue to implement the dengue vaccination among the children that already received the first dose in Region 3, NCR, and 4A, and to continue implementation of the program until all children who receive the first dose will complete the 3 doses as recommended for this vaccine, Your Honor.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Secretary, that on July 21, 2016, Secretary Ubial, in consultation with the Dengue Expert Panel number 1, issued a stop on the implementation of the first dose of vaccines that is contained in Dengue Expert Panel Resolution number 1, series of 2016. Is that correct or not?
Your Honor, as explained, we did not stop the implementation of the dengue vaccine, but the recommendation of the expert panel was to continue vaccinating only those that received the first dose to complete 3 doses of the vaccine, as it is being the way to administer it is being recommended, Your Honor.
Why is it, Madam Secretary, that in a matter of less than 3 months, or specifically on October 3, 2016, you called for another panel of experts? That is the panel of experts number 2. Why?
Your Honor, if you might recall in the budget hearing during that period before the second expert panel, there was a request from Honorable Gwen Garcia of Cebu to actually convene a second expert panel for a second opinion. That is why that second expert panel was convened, Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
I was interviewing people who asked you or requested you to convene a second panel of experts. They told me that they requested for a second panel because the first panel was composed of doctors, though they are well-known and, good, excellent doctors. Their expertise were not on infectious diseases or on vaccines. So they said that they requested you to call for a second panel because those doctors, which were included in the first panel, though very good and excellent doctors, were not experts on infectious diseases. And the second panel was, admittedly, was composed of experts on infectious diseases. And this group issued a resolution or a recommendation which is, I think, if you ask me, are opposite of the recommendation. I don't know, for a lack of a better term, because they said, under resolution number 2, to expand the dengue school-based immunization program, to conduct catch-up immunization for missed pupils in Region 3, 4A, and NCR, and to strengthen the advocacy and communication, effectively inform the public of the importance of the vaccine. So, and this, the first one said not to expand the implementation anymore. The second one is to expand. This created, and I've been interviewing a lot of people, Madam Secretary.
Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
And this brought about a confusion on the public, especially the parents, as to what
Yes,
is
Your
this
Honor.
all about.
Yes,
That,
Your
wait, you don't have any question yet. So that when you again order the implementation as scheduled, the number of people who lined up for the vaccination was much, much lower than the first batch immunized under the program. Is that correct, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Your Honor. We actually got about 60% coverage in the first batch, and we got less than 50% coverage in the second batch of immunization. May I add, Your Honor, that people get their information from the internet, and there's a lot of information on the internet that actually sow fear in our population that the dengue vaccine that is currently being
Again,
used.
Madam Secretary, may I cut you short?
Yes,
Because
po.
again, that will not put you in a good light. Because if you're telling me that people believe or the internet or the social media is more active than the information campaign of our department, then that does not speak well of us. So what happens now? There are, I think, more than 500 or vaccines which are now in your storage and about to expire on August 2018. Is that correct?
Your Honor,
So what will
it's
happen to
about to
this
expire.
to these 500 plus vaccines that will expire in August of 2018? And because Madam Secretary, I was from my researches, the dengue vaccination is on 3 doses. So and with a span of or a interval of 6 months in between the 3 doses. Is that correct?
Yes,
so
Your Honor.
So what will happen to the 500 or so vaccines which are just there lying and about to expire, and this will cost the government a lot of money.
Your Honor, that is true. As of August 9, 2017, we have 590,000 doses still at hand. And we have started implementing the expansion in Cebu Province, in Caloocan City, in Makati, in Manila, and Quezon City, and with an assumption of 50% coverage of the eligible population, we will be able to immunize 590,000 children with 3 doses by August 2018, the expiry date of this particular vaccine, Your Honor. Mr. Chair.
Yeah. And you know, I want to go very technical on this. I specifically put it down because when I interviewed doctors, ito medyo technical kaya babasahin ko to. Considering the delays in the implementation of the dengue vaccination, can we still attain the critical threshold on the number of population vaccinated in order to produce herd immunity? Can you explain that for the purpose or for the education of everybody in the commission? How can you attain a critical threshold on the number of population vaccinated in order to produce herd immunity? Ano po bang ibig sabihin nito? Kasi akala ko yung herd yun sa mga
Kalabaw.
baka.
Yes, Your Honor.
So ano po ito?
Mr. Chair, unfortunately, the dengue vaccine is one vaccine where you do not attain herd immunity. What the dengue vaccine confers is individual immunity. What herd immunity means is like the measles vaccine. If you immunize 85% of the population of children, even the 15% that you did not immunize will be protected because it will stop the transmission of the virus. But for dengue vaccine, there's no such thing as herd immunity because the virus is not transmitted person to person. It's transmitted through a vector, the mosquito. So the dengue vaccine confers only individual immunity, and there is no herd immunity to speak of with the dengue vaccine.
Okay.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, okay. That is your opinion, Madam Secretary. But I have opinions of 3 doctors who are expert in infectious diseases, which tells me that the critical threshold on the number of population should produce herd immunity, and this applies to dengue vaccine. So it's your word against them. So I'm just telling you that these three infectious diseases experts tell me that there is such thing as herd immunity in dengue. So, sige, bawasin ko na lang. Ito na lang, huli na lang. Sorry po. Madam Secretary, ay, dami kong dito. Is it correct that you issued an administrative order number 2016 0041? Did you issue that, Madam Secretary?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know the particulars of that issuance, Your Honor.
So I will inform you that DOH Administrative Order number 0041, series of 2016, sets an overall policy directions and identifies the roles and functions of DOH, its officers and partner agencies in the provision of quality post-abortion care in hospitals and all health facilities. I'm trying to look for a copy of that because I have a copy of that. I read it.
Yes, Your Honor, I
just
issued
have
that
a lot of
policy.
documents here that I cannot find it anymore.
Yes, Your Honor, I issued that policy. Now that you stated the subject matter, Your
Eh,
Honor.
importante po to. Dapat alam niyo yung mga numero na yan. So, in Section 2, Section 5, Item 2, treatment of all complications from spontaneous and induced abortion, which is being questioned by midwives and nurses. Because it states here in that section that you are allowing the specific provision, doctors, nurses, and midwives, trained and certified to provide PMAC. What is PMAC?
Your Honor, that is post-abortion management and care, Your Honor.
Services are allowed to perform some level of post-abortion care, including vacuum aspiration and manual vacuum aspiration for uncomplicated trimester spontaneous abortion. So, the nurses and the midwives themselves have approached you and have approached us because they said that the vacuum aspiration, whether it is manual or otherwise, is beyond their competency. And it is also my fear, Madam Secretary, being a former local chief executive, yung pong kondisyon sa probinsya. Pag pinabayaan mo po yung midwife at yung nurse na mag-perform ng ganito, eh baka sila yung puntahan ng mga tao na gustong magpa-abort. And they themselves have appealed to you to please repeal and remove this. But you told them, I don't know if, I will not tell you who told me, your answer was, saka na lang pag na-confirm na ako. But in the meantime, Madam Secretary, marami nang nag-a-aspirate doon sa mga baryo at probinsya. Paano to?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to say that we don't make arbitrary decision in the Department of Health, and I never said that we will change the policy based on my confirmation or not, Your Honor. We make decisions based on evidence. And there are 400,000 abortion deaths in this country, not only induced abortion, but also spontaneous abortions. And there are a lot of areas in this country where there are no doctors to perform dilatation and curettage. There are no obstetricians in some areas. And the manual vacuum aspiration technology has been introduced in other countries. It's life-saving to complete and to treat complicated or incomplete abortions of women, whether it's induced or whether it's spontaneous abortion. 400,000 deaths a year in this country, Your Honor.
I recognize that, Madam Secretary, and I would like to consider that. It's just that if the objection or the appeal comes from the very persons you are authorizing to perform a particular act and saying that it is beyond their competency to do this, then it also puts a question to the safety of the people that you are saying you want to protect.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
that's my only concern. I cannot argue with you on this.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you are a doctor, I am a lawyer. This is within your expertise. My only concern is that I've heard a group or the official organization of midwives and nurses that this particular power or responsibility you are imposing upon them are beyond their competency. So I would like to appeal to you to consider this because I know, I appreciate that you are taking care or you are concerned of the 400,000 people who are, who suffer abortion, whether induced or whatever. But, we also have to protect them from people who they say that we cannot do that. See? So, okay, so that's, I still have questions, but
Yes, Your Honor.
I would
Mr. Chair.
rest my questioning now, and thank you very much, Mr. Chair.